Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in the My Guy Rob series. As always, my name is Robert Mack, partner at Kurlander, Burton Mack in beautiful San Francisco. And today we're here to talk about what we call third-party cases. Now, a third-party case is a case that has both a workers' compensation and a personal injury lawsuit that come from the same injury, same accident, same incident. This can happen when you're injured while you're at work. So you're working when the injury actually occurs, but the person who caused the injury is not a coworker. They're not someone who's employed by your job. They're someone completely separate. They are a third party. They're not you. They're not the employer. They're a third party. The most simple and kind of common example of something like this is when you're injured as a truck driver. Let's say you're driving your truck to delivering packages for UPS, FedEx, Amazon, whoever. And while you're driving the company truck on the clock, you're rear-ended and injured by another driver. Now, the other driver's at fault for the accident. They caused you to be injured due to their negligence. And because of that, you can file a civil personal injury claim against them. And because you're at work, you're on the clock, and you're in the middle of your job, you can file a workers' compensation claim with your employer's insurance company. So you have both the workers' comp claim because you're at work and the civil claim against the driver who rear-ended you. That's the most common example, but there are other examples as well. Another one that's semi-typical is, let's say you're a construction worker and you're injured due to the negligence of another worker on that same site, but has a different employer. So an example is, you're a construction worker, you're building the scaffolding for the building that you're working on, and then a hammer falls from another worker 2 stories up, hits you, you fall off the scaffolding. So you have the workers' comp claim against your company because you're working at the time you're injured. And then you also have a civil claim against the company of the guy whose hammer hit you if they're working for a different company. So you can have both the workers' comp claim against your company and, again, the civil claim against the worker who injured you. So those are 2 of the most common examples, but there's all kinds of other examples. You could be on the clock and you could be injured, by any person that doesn't work for the company, isn't related to the company. If that happens, you have the workers' comp claim against your company and the civil claim against that third party. When this happens, it's very important to understand that you have 2 separate cases, but they are related and they will interact. I absolutely suggest hiring an attorney for these types of cases because they are complicated. Generally speaking, you want to have one attorney who is, well-versed in both civil and workers' comp law and have them represent you in both cases. That's what I do generally. I prefer as the attorney, if there are 2 cases, to do both of them. It makes things easier for both, myself, but also for my client, especially when it comes towards the end of the cases and resolving them. So once you're injured, I'm going to go through kind of just the timeline of what to expect and what you should do without getting too deep into the weeds, because it is complicated. That's why it's very important to have an attorney for these cases. But for you as the injured worker, I think it is important to just kind of understand the basics. The first thing to know is that in a perfect world, you should receive the medical treatment through your workers' comp case. The workers' comp insurance carrier, they should provide the medical benefits to you after you've been injured. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of the medical treatment here. I have other videos and blogs about that. It's its own other completely separate topic. But it's important that, you get medical treatment, and I suggest you do it through the workers' comp carrier. There's a few reasons for that, okay? First and foremost, if you get treatment through workers' comp, you don't have to pay for it. You're likely going to be off work, so you don't want to have to pay out of pocket for this treatment. Secondly, it actually makes your civil case a lot cleaner, more streamlined if you get the treatment through workers' comp, because then we can easily order all of the medical records that you're going to need for your civil case through the workers' comp case. One, that'll make it cheaper for you because the insurance company in your workers' comp case will pay to have all the records sent to your attorney. Now, if you go to your own doctor, your attorney's going to have to pay for those records. So any money that's spent as part of your civil case, you do have to pay back. So if it's spent in your workers' comp case instead, you're going to save money. At the end of the day, that's going to be more money in your pocket. But overall, it just makes things a lot easier if you're able to get those medical records through the workers' comp case. Also, it's important they get treatment through the workers' comp case, because if you need time off of work, you're going to want to have the medical records that prove you need time off work through your workers' comp case, because the workers' compensation insurance company will pay you while you're off work. If you get medical treatment on your own, it's unlikely that they're going to accept those records as proof you need time off work. And if you want to be paid disability through workers' comp while you're off work, you need to go and see their doctor. So it's important that you get treatment, you get it through the workers' comp system. It's going to be more efficient, it's going to be cheaper, and it's going to allow you to get disability payments while you're off of work. If you do see doctors that are outside the workers' comp system, it's really important that you tell your attorney about that so they can order those medical records. Also, it's important that you get the treatment through the workers' comp case, or you could on your own, but it's just really important that you have evidence that you're injured. I've said this in a lot of other videos, but one of the main things about these cases is they are run on medical evidence. You got to go and get the treatment so we have evidence that you're injured, that the incident occurred. Okay. So once you get the treatment, hopefully you'll get back to, 100% or as close to 100% as you can be. And now it's going to be time to resolve these cases. Okay. And this is actually where the complicated part of this comes into play. It's not simple, but it shouldn't be too complicated if you understand how these two types of cases play into each other. Okay. So in my opinion, I think it's best to settle the workers' compensation claim first if you can. And the reason for that is fairly straightforward. The workers' compensation insurance company is going to want their money back when you settle your civil case. And by that, I mean the workers' comp insurance company is going to be paying for your medical treatment. They might pay you for being off work. They might pay you for a settlement. When you go to settle your civil case, the law says that the workers' comp insurance company gets the money back that they spent on your workers' comp case as part of your civil settlement. So you need to know what number that is. You need to know how much money they've spent. And so you want to settle that case, get a firm understanding of this is how much money they've spent, because in your civil case, you need to ask for more money as part of your settlement than what the workers' comp insurance company paid for. And there are very clear and simple ways that you can make your settlement worth more than the workers' comp case. First and foremost, there's no pain and suffering payments in workers' comp, but there are in civil cases. So you can ask for pain and suffering as part of your civil settlement, even though you couldn't as part of your workers' comp settlement. Also, workers' comp only pays you 2/3 of your salary while you're off work because of the injury. Your civil case, you'll ask for 100% of the wages that you missed while you're off work. So you can make up the difference of that 2/3 versus the whole through the civil case, because you can ask for your entire wages. So it is easy to ask above and beyond what the workers' comp insurance company is going to want back from the civil case, but you need to know what that number is. And that's why I prefer to settle the workers' comp case first, if possible. So you just need to remember, workers' comp is going to ask for their money back from what they spend on your workers' comp claim. So you need to know how much they spent. That way, as part of the civil case, you can ask for something that's above and beyond that amount. Also, it's important to understand that if you had settled your workers' comp case via what we call stipulations, and what that means is you still have your medical treatment available to you even after your workers' comp case has been settled. If you do sell your workers' comp case that way and there is a civil case attached to it, you're going to run into what we call a credit problem. And what that means is any money you receive from the civil case, they're going to credit against your medical treatment in the workers' comp case. Now, it gets very complicated. I don't think it's important for you to know the ins and outs of it. But what is important to understand is if you get money through the civil case, the workers' comp insurance company is not going to give you medical treatment until you've spent the money you got from the civil case on medical treatment. Again, it's complicated, but the long and short of it is oftentimes my clients, if they don't know this ahead of time, or if they come to me too late, or if there's another attorney involved and they don't explain it to them, they're going to be left without medical treatment that they can get through the workers' comp claim, even though they settled the workers' comp claim with open medical because of this credit that the insurance company got through the civil case. So it's very important that your attorney understands that. It's very important that you understand that before you settle either of the cases. Oftentimes it makes sense actually to sell them both at the same time so these issues don't come up at all. You just know, hey, this is how much money I'm getting for both these cases, and you resolve both at the same time. That's the cleanest way to do it. The problem is you have two different insurance companies involved and they don't really care about that. But that's the easiest and simplest way to do it, to sell both at the same time. You get this dollar amount, that's the end of it. But it's important your attorney understands how the two cases play into each other and then is able to explain it to you. Because again, I've said this a few times, but it can be very complicated, and you want to kind of streamline and make things as simple as possible. So overall, look, here's what you need to understand. You can have a civil case and you can have a workers' comp case at the same time. The only way that generally can happen is if the person who causes your injury does not work for the same company as you. They are a third company, you being the first party, your job being the second party, and this other person being the third party. If that happens, you can file both claims at the same time for the same incident. But when it comes time to resolve both cases, there is interplay between them, and it's important that you have the correct counsel so that you understand what your rights are, you understand how much money you're going to get, you understand if there's any continuing obligations that you might have. So thank you very much for joining me today. Again, my name is Robert Mack, partner at Kurlander, Burton Mack, and I hope you watch all the other movies in the My Guy Rob series. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.